Hey, good morning, Mid-Michigan and Western Michigan, and welcome to another broadcast. Continuous Miracle right here on WGLM 1063. We're happy to be here with you, and we hope you're happy to be with us. Got Mike, co-host, in here this morning with us.
Hey, good morning, folks. Glad to be here.
Dangerous Darren on the dials again.
Good morning.
Thank you, sir, for being here and your service, expertise. This stuff doesn't happen by itself. So without Darren, none of this goes off. So we're grateful you're here. And we have a guest with us in studio this morning, Richard.
Good morning.
Morning, Richard. Thanks for coming in. And Richard is a LPC certified therapist. And he does a lot of work within the local jail system. When folks in recovery find themselves incarcerated, they generally run into a gentleman such as Richard inside the facilities, and he helps them sort some of these things out while they're incarcerated. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your service. Let's start there.
I came across Richard when I met Richard when I went to work up to the Newaygo County Jail in White Cloud back in early March. Quite a education for me. I was on it was in new territory, and Richard helped me navigate
Wait a minute.
it.
Stop right there. Wait. You've been to jail prior to just...
Not on
going
that
to-
side of the glass.
Oh, this is a voluntary thing.
Yeah, they'd let me out after a little while too.
Okay, all right. Well, we need folks to understand. Now, Mike, Mike, with your driving abilities and whatnot, But no, Mike actually got involved with some folks at the county jail.
Counseling.
Yeah, and going in and talking to people who were participants in the system. I knew there was a word for it.
Inmates.
We're pretty grateful for Mike and what he does because a lot of the people who are in jail right now, they'll be getting out. And Mike helps them extend what we do when they leave. Mike is very involved in recovery, and we appreciate what he does. The agency sees the value in a guy like Mike.
Sure, we all do. Yeah, and that's a new element that's been added to the recovery program. I mean, there was a time when you do your bit at the county jail, and then you'd get out, and then there'd be, oh, what do I do now? Yeah, right. And with someone like Mike going in there, he can actually offer a hand and guidance and direction for when that participant is coming out of the county jail.
Reasonable resources.
Yeah, reasonable resources in a direction to kind of point them in, right?
Yes, sir. That's about me, but a big thrust of what Richard does is he talks to anybody in crisis that's an inmate that needs counseling or just really someone to talk to.
Right, because there's some mental health situations, I would imagine, within
Oh, yeah.
the incarcerated community. And those probably flare up pretty regular, and that's when they encounter you, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Just trying to understand the process, what brings them to you.
Generally speaking, people who end up incarcerated have had a lot of trauma in their lives, whether it be from foster care, and there's a lot of trauma that comes out of foster care, or just a bad home, growing up with maybe addictions, whether they be substance abuse or alcohol abuse. They come out of that and they're pretty scarred, and a lot of them have a bad self-worth. They don't think they're worth much because that's what they learned. Growing up, that's what the messages they got from whoever they were around, and so that's not true. That isn't true, and they need to understand why it's not true. So we talk a lot about their stories and what happened, and try to make them understand they are valuable people because they're God's creatures.
Right, right. Everyone has value. Child of God, as you mentioned.
Exactly.
What Richard was saying, I don't want to try to correct. I just want a better understanding for people that almost everybody is dealing something with that, but the people that are inmates have a generally tendency to be beaten down by this sort of thing, so that they don't have much of a sense of worth. And I think his point is that you are not what you had done to you. You are what you are as a child of God. Just because something was done to you doesn't make you not a valuable child of God anymore.
Right. Doesn't make you that. We're not chronic victims.
Well, a lot of these, they don't understand it because these kids' trauma comes while their brain's being developed. And they don't understand a lot of things. Because I think for the male brain, for example, the male brain does not totally finish developing to about the age of 25. So what they've learned in their formative years when their brain is developing have most of the time been negative. And so that's how they think. I mean, that's what they grew up with. That's how they see the world.
Right, and that's that trauma that you speak of.
Right.
So when you experience that as in your youth, then you carry that into your adulthood and continue to perpetuate that whole cycle. Is that correct?
That's true. I like to use, when I counsel, I like to use the example about, as far as brain development go, about baby number one. When baby number one is born, mom and dad bring him home to the hospital, and the only thing working in that baby's brain is something called the amygdala, which is the emotional center of the brain. So when the baby wakes up, say the first night it's home, and starts crying, they don't wake up and think, wow, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, maybe I ought to. No, they don't do that. So that's how babies communicate, through emotion. They cry. So mom and dad will come in typically, and they'll pick the child up, and they meet the child's need, make it comfortable. It's either hunger or it's dirty and its diaper's dirty, and they calm the baby down.
Mm-hmm.
Emotion comes down, it goes back to sleep. Well, if that happens every day for the next year and a half or 2 years, that baby starts to understand things because the baby's brain's developing, right? And so it starts to understand someone loves me, someone cares for me, and maybe I don't have to use so much emotion. And they start to use words, okay? And pretty much the baby will be developed fairly normally. Now, baby number two comes home from the hospital, same thing, wakes up in the middle of the night and cries because it's uncomfortable for some reason. But this time, no one comes. Parents are either substance abusers, they don't care, they're just bad parents. Well, the baby will eventually cry itself to sleep, but if you multiply that over about a year and a half, this baby's learning something completely different. And the synapses in the baby's brain are making different connections than baby number one. So baby number two thinks, I'm on my own here. So that baby never really comes out of emotion. And anytime you make a decision based on an emotion, especially in an immature brain, that's probably not going to be a good decision.
Yeah, I'm going to say, I'm familiar with that. Yeah, not a good idea.
So these two babies' brains completely develop differently. And there are actual physical differences between the synapse connections. So,
I've got something to throw in there about that. What I learned along those lines is that if that baby number one, that when the baby number one's needs are met, that's validation that their emotions are real and will be met by their caregiver. Baby number two is questioning whether their emotions are real or not, their feelings, because they weren't met. Mm-hmm. They weren't. So for a lot of people, like, not necessarily like me, I was going to say like me, maybe me, was confused about whether my feelings were real because I had not had enough experience having had those met.
Mm-hmm. Well, in a developing brain, you're going to have a behavioral problem with a child that it doesn't feel love because he's going to be searching for that, want to be a part of something. A lot of times that's where adolescents, they join gangs because they want to be part. They need to get validated some way. And if the parents doesn't do that in early stages of life,
so they seek it out in other ways.
Seek it other ways. That's correct.
Yeah, well, I understand that.
And a lot of times they will turn to substances. to cope with life because they don't have any coping skills. So they see the advertisements about alcohol, about drugs, and they get the influence by other people who are having bad coping skills, and they get together as a family, and then it's usually behavioral issues, and they'll end up a lot of times incarcerated.
Right.
That's where Mike and I starts to pick them up.
Yeah, a bit of unmanageability. Keep running that circle around, and yeah.
If you're wearing orange, it's a lot of unmanageability.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that could happen in short order, actually, if it's not arrested. So, what do you think, ideally, when you encounter a new client, participant, do you try and let them know some of these things, or do you try to redirect some of the thought processes in a different manner?
Well, I usually, when I first meet somebody, I want to hear what they're saying, because most time no one ever listens to them. Probably the first session or two, I'm basically listening, because I want to find out where they're at intellectually, where they're at emotionally, where they're at spiritually, because we're human beings are spiritual creatures, but we don't really realize that we are, but we are. And so I listen primarily at the beginning of getting to know somebody,
Okay.
because I want them to know I care about what they're saying, and I give them direct eye contact. I give them my time, and they get my full attention. And if they say something, I'll pick up on it. And so I want to make sure they feel listened to. When most of the time people, when they're in a crowd, I watch people in a crowd. For example, if the four of us gentlemen are talking and there's only one person getting most of the eye contact, that is the person the group thinks is the most important. And so
Okay.
that's why I give eye contact, because a lot of these people have never been listened to. So once I hear their story, and we start to address some of these things. And in me in particular, I like to help people put their life in perspective. And what do I mean by that? I tell them a lot of times, well, for example, last Monday on the 11th of August, I turned 77. And I tell them,
Congratulations.
I made it.
Yeah.
I tell them, if I live to be 80, which is only 3 more years, what's 80 years compared to eternity?
Yeah,
So
blink
that's-
of an eye.
It's nothing. And so I want them to understand that life is very, very brief, and there are ways to cope with life itself. And like I said, most people are made of 3 things. They're made of their body, their soul, and their spirit. Your body's temporary. It ages. I don't know if you gentlemen have noticed that, but it ages.
Well, Mike has. he gives regular reports. He gives regular reports on that.
Then I tell them, I said, but your soul's eternal. They call the eyes are the windows of the soul, so I said, I can see your soul. It's eternal, and it will live somewhere else. And I'm a Christian, and so my philosophy comes straight from Scripture. And when you really understand Scripture and how God orchestrates everything, and there are purposes for everything that happens to us.
Oh, everybody can do something.
Yeah, well, in the book of Romans 8:28, all things work together for good to them that love God and are called according to His purpose. So basically, after some counseling, and they get to trust me, I will tell them anything that happens to you, if it brings you closer to God, that's a blessing. Because we like to look at things and think, wow, this is horrible. But if it affects your life to the point where you start to recognize what your life's all about, that's good, because this is a short journey.
Right.
We call that suffering transmuted, done right.
Good point.
Right. And it gives folks hope. Because, we'll talk a little bit about that when we come back. Because we encounter a lot of people whose lives are being transmuted.
Yes, sir.
And that's a blessing. Yeah. Didn't know that until we knew it, though.
Yeah.
So come on back, and we'll talk to Richard a little bit more about some of these things he's encountered in his many years of service to people in the recovery community. We're so glad you're here. We'll be right back.
That went pretty easy, I
So
think.
that was the first 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Community focus on
You were
WGL.
About 2.5 minutes.
Spontaneous.
Honor veterans and soldiers
Yeah.
9/11
You-
Memorial
I have a
Golf
face for
Outing
radio.
in
Okay.
We got a bunch of them in here.
September 6th at Glen Cary
Thanks for
Golf
joining the
Course
party.
in Greenville.
He's an athlete. I think he grabbed the ball and run with it.
Shotgun start.
what he
For
did.
information, Buck has it 616-788-4300.
Up-to-date local information on
This
What do I
guy
need
always
note-wise
tells me
here?
to get ready another pitch.
What do we got? We haven't
Good
seen.
metaphor.
Yeah.
Major League Baseball, the Brewers have the best
2
record
minutes.
going right now, and they just set a single season.
We still got a family 4-pack of tickets to the Michigan Renaissance Fair to give away. Still have a dozen years of corn of Carr Farms to give away.
3-1. The Blue Jays romped
Okay,
past the
anything
Rangers
else?
14-2.
No.
and it was the Red Sox and
Website,
Marlins
Website.
7-5.
Facebook.
Braves had a big offensive
Okay,
game against
YouTube.
the Guardians, winning 10-1.
What day are we gonna be
Nationals
up
shut
on
out the
YouTube?
Phillies
Tuesday?
2-0. Rockies and
Probably
Red Sox
Wednesday.
6-2.
Wednesday.
In 12
He always
and a
says
half,
Wednesday,
the
but you
Orioles
keep trying for
5-4.
Tuesday.
I do. Maybe I'm pushy. Is that me exerting my authority? What to have zero?
Diamondbacks 10-7. The Rays over the Giants 2-1.
All
Dodgers
right.
beat the Padres in a 6-0.
I'll let you read those.
The Athletics winners over the Angels 7-0.
Hey, there you go.
NASCAR cookout 400
We good?
won by
Yeah, I can do that.
This is SRN Sports.
It's a WGLM
I'm gonna go
Weather
ahead
Center
and
update.
snag
Partly
this
sunny
mic though
skies
real
for your
quick.
Sunday. We could see
That way
some
I can-
showers through mid-afternoon.
That way it
High
sounds
today
good.
near 80.
Darren
Clear
projects.
skies overnight tonight, a low of 57. Mostly sunny skies
Yeah.
for the day on Monday. Could see some showers
He's got a
throughout
voice
the
for
day, a
radio.
high of 82. Cloudy skies and showers likely overnight Monday night.
We try to have a little bit of fun.
45
Sunny
seconds.
skies, some lingering showers Tuesday, a high of 81.
What do you want me to do?
Now, more of the music you love on
Happy Joyce for
WGLM.
free or something.
People like
Did you
Jim.
know that Central
I'll
Michigan
tell you.
Recovery and Education Network
30
at Blair
seconds.
State University works in the community to help
Yeah,
veterans,
and you can
the
recognize it.
homeless, unhoused, pregnant, and recently
I was
incarcerated
having
to
fun making the
maintain
best green
recovery.
bean casserole in the world
Visit
last night, or
Cameron.org
yesterday
for
afternoon.
more
It
information.
was great.
Twice baked green beans.
3
15
times.
seconds.
Services as part of an award totaling $1,200,000 with 0% financing.
Jared said I hit it out of the park.
The contents are those of the office
Well,
and do not
he's
necessarily
right.
represent the official
He
views
grew the
of,
green
nor
beans.
an endorsement by HRSA, HHS, or the
you
U.S.
grown
government.
anything?
For more information, please visit
Well,
HRSA.
some flowers. But I didn't plant them.
Because there are too many farmer markets around.
Yeah.
Let
Yeah.
them do it and pick it up.
I got my corn on the cob at one yesterday.
Buy it and add some sweet corn to it.
Hey, Scott here, back with you. Continuous Miracle right here on WGLM 1063. Now, before we get back into our conversation here, real quick with Darren, I guess we have some couple things that we can offer to give away.
Yes,
today.
actually, we still have a family 4-pack of tickets to the Michigan Renaissance Festival. That's all through the rest of August and into September. And we also have a dozen ears of corn from Carr Farms. A gift certificate for that you can pick up if you are the next winner. I'll take the first 2 callers, 616-754-1063, to be an easy winner right here at M1063.
Thank you, Darren.
Thanks, Darren.
And also, real quick mention, feel free to visit our website at any time, continuousmiracle.net. And all our previous shows are up there. Podcast format. You can view any of them anytime at your leisure. And also, you can go to Facebook at any time. I think we're on live today, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, we're up live today on Facebook. Go to Continuous Miracle Radio. Continuous Miracle Radio in your toolbar on Facebook. And we should pop right up for you. And that's anytime. That stays up throughout the week, right?
Yes.
Yep. So anytime you want to view it on Facebook, feel free. Continuous Miracle Radio. Also, we are up on YouTube on Wednesday, I'm being told.
Yeah.
This week. So we'll be up on YouTube, Continuous Miracle. Just type that in your toolbar and it'll pop right up for you there. So feel free to join us at any time. Also, if you'd like to leave an email or a note, you can do that at continuousmiracle.net, and that's our webpage. And either Mike or I or Darren will respond to you there. So we try and keep all those lines of communication open for everybody. What do you think of that, Mike?
I think it's a great idea
Yeah?
that people give us a message or questions. I'd like to get back to what something Richard was saying about
Sure.
people in crisis. It sounded like to some people maybe that Richard only deals with substance abuse, but Richard deals with the general population that comes into the jail, and most of it's not addiction per se.
There's some mental illness that's going on.
Quite a bit of it. Partly in today's society, people aren't protected from themselves like they were 40, 50 years ago with different kind of institutions. So the people that are incarcerated are just like a slice of the regular population. An awful lot of people have untreated mental illness.
Yeah.
And the situation they're in right then, being arrested and incarcerated, spikes that stuff right to the roof. And even if you don't have those kind of issues, it makes you seem like you might. So he's dealing with a lot of people in a...
Have you found that to be so, Richard, over years? I mean, I know that the state of Michigan closed the mental institutions, what'd you say, 40 years ago?
Like in the
Somewhere in their late 80s. Yeah, it was all, they were all mothballed, for lack of a better term, and folks were left pretty much fend for themselves. And then you have some recurring mental illness issues out there in the community, in every community, and not just talking the state of Michigan. I don't care where you go. Go visit California. You'll encounter folks with mental issues, whether that means they're homeless or maybe in one of the overnight facilities that's provided for folks with mental illness, and that stuff flares up, and next thing you know, they're in front of you, incarcerated.
Well, that's because they had a behavioral issue because of the mental issue, and I have to springboard off of their developmental years will give them one message, that they're not worth much, so they spend the rest of their lives trying to validate who they are and connect with somebody or something, and that's what they do. And a lot of times they get with other people having the same issue, and that's where, and if they get into substance abuse, that alters their brain. I have a problem with doctors who will give a child medications like Ritalin when the brain's still developing. And the reason I say that is because I think I would have been diagnosed with ADHD had that even existed when I was growing up, but I grew out of it. And I think that in a lot of cases, doctors will over-medicate while they're young, and what that tells this kid's brain is that, hey, brain, you don't have to do this anymore. The brain's going to be medicated so the brain doesn't have to develop normally. And what you're doing then is you're opening up to addiction. Mm-hmm. They have to be on a med the rest of their life. And I think that's a misuse of a medication. And that can cause mental illness.
I've witnessed that over years. I know, you mentioned the Ritalin kids and raise the past love them. And there was always that element floating around, whether maybe not be directly with my kids, but with, I did a lot of work with youth football and baseball. And
kids are kids.
Yeah, kids are kids. And the parents would say, well, Johnny's, I said, is he okay? He's like, hit a ball to him, smack him in the forehead. Whoa! That wasn't the point, And he said, well, he's on Ritalin or he's whatever. And that was, I wasn't familiar with that stuff. And
well,
I can see that.
Bad parenting has a lot to do with it.
Right, but I've seen that in folks over the years. They still take some sort of substance that can help them cope.
Yeah.
Now it's coping.
Yeah.
Cope with day's activities.
I remember growing up, I don't know, I'm not being diagnosed with ADHD, but I know the kind of fellas I hung out with in my youth, all of us would have been diagnosed with ADHD, and what the nuns did was they smacked us a little bit and told us whatever, they got us busy doing stuff. that's what they did. They got us busy doing stuff back then, whether it was sports or study or something, but we were all like that. And if they'd have given us, I'm glad they didn't give us drugs for that stuff, because that's where I was at. That was like normal. We're all worked up like that as kids.
Right, right. Well, kids are kids, right?
Kids are kids.
Speaking of that, school starts this week. Be careful out there. Those bus drivers will be out.
Which is hard to believe because I remember when I was growing up, we didn't start school till after
Labor Day, yeah.
I thought that was written somewhere, so like a law.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
kids are.
If you're in a farm community, it was law back then, because them kids weren't done working on the farm till after Labor Day.
Yeah, had to get the crops in.
Yeah. Or a lot of manure to be shoveled out of the barn, things like that.
Right. So yeah, school starts this week, folks. Keep your eyes out for the school buses and little people running around in the mornings, because they're going to be out there, and they don't think so good. You know, I didn't when I was a kid. So, and they're excited to get back to school. So you watch out for them, please, and thank you. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, we as far as people, we see it in the mental health gig. There is just people who've never really developed a good sense of self in most cases. And once you develop that good sense of self and understand you do have value, you have a unique gift that you can give to society, but we don't have basically any confidence that you can do anything, because it's usually the way they're raised.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. But sometimes that's masked in false bravado.
Mm-hmm.
Not having any real confidence in what we're saying, even though that's what we're acting. I've seen that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes people don't recognize that lack of confidence, or whatever you want to call that, because they mask it with false bravado. When I got to AA, I wasn't afraid of anything. Or so I said, because I wouldn't look at almost anything. I was just going to do whatever I was going to do and call it swell.
You know, we talked about a little bit earlier about how the baby number 2 will never really come out of emotion. I used to work at a Miami County Correctional Facility in just outside of Kokomo, Indiana. It was a level 4 prison, and I worked there for 4 years. And I would look out on, and it's a big 3,000 bed prison, and I would look out on the yard and see these huge grown men walking around. I mean, they lift weights, and they're big guys and totally mature. They were all solving problems like 6th graders, because they have to use emotion to manipulate other people. That's why that's what got them in jail, because of their manipulation, and they would break the law and manipulating people because they made decisions, all of them, on emotion. We all make decisions based on one of two things: what we know and what we feel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
When you make decisions totally on how you feel, feelings change. Facts don't. So you have to understand what is important in life. And that's where I go back to a lot of things like spirituality, Christian-based spirituality. That's what I kind of like to call it. You are important. You are loved. You are a unique individual. There's no one like you that's ever been born. And then when they really understand who they are, in my opinion, in God's eyes, that really helps their mental health. And I think statistics show that anybody who has a deep faith will have better mental health.
Yeah. And for somebody who might be incarcerated, how can you show them that they're unique and there's only one of them, and you can use the fingerprint system as an identifier. Each and every one of us has a unique fingerprint.
And a unique story.
Yes, sir. Well,
and I think it validates them just to listen to their story. Because if someone actually takes an interest in them, then you could connect with them on a therapeutic level where there's a good connection, and that's where you can actually make some headway. Because if you're not listening to them, you're not going to know them.
well, correct.
So is this that amygdala back at action here needed to be recognized, needed to be the emotional part of our brain that needs to be validated constantly still?
Well, I think the notions need to be validated, but at the same time, the emotions need to be controlled by facts. In other
Not
words,
feelings.
yeah, feelings. Because I didn't feel that great getting up this morning. My wife and I talked today, and
Is that unusual?
well, we were under stress.
Okay.
And so when two people are under stress, that you're not thinking, you're thinking more from emotion than you are facts. And so she recognized that in me, and I so much appreciate that, and that helped me to understand that I need to back off and just calm down. And I told her I was a little nervous about coming in here for the interview. I've never done this before. And we've
You're doing great.
got a big wedding coming up next week, and I just got back on a golf trip. Not that was.
That's pretty
That's
stressful,
stressful. Wait a
boss.
minute. Now, I oh, that's a feeling. That's not a fact. Because golf
Times
is
it's
that's
stressful. When you hit a bad shot, it's why did I do that? I know better, but no. We make decisions based on either facts or feelings, and when you make decisions based on feelings, which a lot of people who are incarcerated have done,
You're right.
because if they knew that this is illegal, what are you thinking? They did it because that's how they felt, and you can't tell them any different. But when you interrupt that feeling with a fact that makes sense, and you can calm the brain down, okay, that makes sense.
Make a different decision.
Quite often, this guy will say to me, "What were you thinking?" "Oh, you weren't."
You weren't.
Right. Oh, well, it's evident.
That's the way I kind of come about it. But again, you have to establish a therapeutic relationship with these people, and you're not going to ever be able to do it unless you listen to them. You actually listen to them at a human level. I mean, I told these guys before the interview, I said, now I'm educated far beyond my intelligence level. And all education does is you learn some facts. But I got into counseling because I was an engineer at Delphi Electronics for 25 years.
Yeah, and that's two different,
Totally, yeah.
totally different professions.
Yeah, but this is more of a calling for me. I love people, and people are important, because relationships are the most important thing in life. Nothing else is more important. Nothing.
Right. Well, we come to understand that maybe a little later in life, but
A lot of times that's true. That's very true.
I got to AA and I thought it was winning the race and getting a lot of money in the bank accounts what mattered. And I learned something a little bit differently, because that didn't satisfy much in the long run.
No, it doesn't. No, you can't take anything with you after the short journey is over. It's the relationships. Yeah, it occurred to me a long time ago that your children are the only earthly possession you will ever be able to take to heaven with you.
Really?
That's right. So that's just the way I think. I think on a spiritual level, because we're spiritual people. Human beings are spiritual.
You know, something along the line of what you just said. I've been widowed twice and they're still with me. So I get to take them with me.
That's right.
I think that might have been what you meant. Yeah, they're in my heart.
Well, human beings are human beings. We're all made in God's image, and that's important. And they need to help. They understand that. That'll help their mental health. I saw a bumper sticker one time. I'm not a bumper sticker guy.
That's too bad. I like them.
No, I'm not. But the bumper sticker said, "Christ is the answer. What's the question?" So there's a lot of spirit. If people understood how they were viewed by God, they'd start to love Him, and that's important in life to me.
Yep. And what we discovered in the recovery community is everybody comes about that in a different fashion, over time. So,
Tradition number 2 speaks about a loving God as our only source of direction.
Right. Eventually.
Yeah. Not operating that way when I got there.
Speaking of directions, Darren's offers them. So, Darren's offering some. We're going to take a little break here. Thank you, Darren. And we'll be right back on Continuous Miracles. So glad you're here.
I didn't jump too far in the future, did I?
No, it's great.
Usually I do. I'm staying grounded.
You are, for whatever reason. Whatever you did this morning, keep doing it.
Okay. I overslept.
Hi,
Thanks
this
for the
is Jamie
advice.
Strout, and you're listening to the best music on
talking
your
to Greg
hometown station,
Friday, Thursday.
WGLM.
About since the accident, I've had trouble getting up at my 6 o'clock. He commented that he got in an accident sometime ago, and it took him quite a while to
3
get back
minutes.
into his normal schedule and that stuff.
This actually
Holly
a couple
Club and
years
Grill.
ago, I think.
Worth the drive to Stanton.
That was it. He
Hope lives here
Tracy
at
told us.
Montcalm Al-Anon
Did you
Club
say?
with daily AA
Yeah.
and NA
You heard this?
meetings, Al-Anon support,
Al-Anon
and
Club.
weekday drop-in hours from 11 to 3. Visit today at 117 East Montcalm Street in Greenville or
Yeah,
call
new
616-232-2002.
Yeah, I got on
Montcalm
board with
Al-Anon
this.
Club. You are not alone.
Stuck on the side of the road.
That's a
Blocked
deal.
out, battery dead. Call Lenny and Squiggy's Towing in Greenville.
That was it,
Lenny
yeah?
and Squiggy's towing. Hello! Hey, it's Squiggy. Huh?
Followed us
Oh
up,
my
right.
God.
616-754-9450.
Yep.
Again,
Yeah.
616-754-9450.
What kind of music do you
You've
play
been in the
typically?
building industry since 18...
Typically 70s, 80s, 90s, into the 2000s, some 60s.
I love
Windows,
60s.
we recommend Anderson Windows and Patio Doors, who have stood up against
He's a
the
guitar
best
player,
Mother Nature
singer.
and
okay.
Father
Just
Time,
worship
of course,
church.
Michigan weather. DeWitt Lumber has
Yeah,
created
but you
Anderson
did
brand
Puff the
far back
Magic
as
Dragon,
anyone
and
can
that's
remember.
not really a worship song until you got a hold of it.
So, show-wise,
New lyric to it.
show-wise,
Oh,
experience,
back.
strength, and
We're here?
All right. So, what can we do moving forward to help broaden this understanding
Energy
of the
efficient.
recovery
Anderson
community?
Windows coming in endless
I
combinations
think-
of colors, finishes,
I hate-
style,
I'd say,
quality, and trust are important components in the building and window industry.
My
So when
thing
it comes
is
to
getting
windows,
put your
for
life
your
in
project,
perspective.
choose Anderson Windows and Patio
know
Doors,
the
most
importance
trusted
you are as
name in
individuals.
windows.
And try and be of
Live
value
building
to somebody
pros
else.
at DeWitt Lumber for all of
Well,
your
that
window projects.
yeah, that's
We love
that's
people.
very key. That's very key
And Mount
because
Pleasant, building our name
when
with
you
quality
start
since 1890.
helping other
It's a
people, you remind
WGLM
yourself.
Weather Center
And that's
update.
very
Partly
important.
sunny skies for your Sunday. We could see some showers through mid-afternoon. A high today near 80.
What's that?
Clear skies overnight
Get
tonight,
busy.
a low of
What are you doing?
57.
What's that
Mostly
prayer
sunny
that St.
skies
Thomas
for the day
Aquinas
on
wanted to
Monday.
make me a
Could see some
channel?
showers
Make me a
throughout the day,
channel,
a high
like
of
these.
82.
Yeah, that
Cloudy
one.
skies and showers
Better
likely
understand
overnight
to
Monday
be
night,
on
a
the
low
1
of
minute.
66. Partly sunny skies, some lingering
I don't know
showers
the quotes,
Tuesday.
but I know how
Well, you gotta
do it.
listen. You gotta listen to understand.
Now, more of the
I could
music
start
you
that
love
Quit
on
talking, start
WGLM.
listening.
45 seconds.
That's a skill I could develop.
Oh, you know, we haven't got there yet, but we got hope.
I'm saying wrong. My wife pulled out a little
I believe she was parked in the sunshine.
We'll get you. We'll get you home.
Regional
We
recovery
got cars.
ecosystem.
We got driver's license.
Collaborative efforts with a focus
Oh.
on
It might not be for long, but I got it now.
Yeah.
I got it now.
recently
Yeah.
incarcerated.
Day at a time deal.
Tenuous grip, they call that.
For more
didn't really
information.
move.
This
She just
program is
went.
supported by the Health Resources
15 seconds.
Services as part of an award totaling $1,200,000 with 0% financing from multiple sources. The contents are those of the authors and do
Pardon?
not necessarily represent the official views
Perfect.
of,
No, better than it
by
to hope
HRSA,
for.
HHS, or the U.S. government. For more information,
Because you got that face for radio.
Yeah,
It helps.
You guys make me look good. Hey, Scott here back with you on Continuous Miracle. Once again, having too much fun with these guys. And that's part of it. We're just enjoying one another's company. And Richard's bringing some different thoughts and ideas to both Mike and myself and Darren as we're having a little conversation during break here. And we were talking a little bit about moving forward, and I know you've been at this a good while. So as we go forward, we talked about your own personal experience of you love people, is what you said,
absolutely.
and you helped start your second career as wanting to be a channel to help other people. Is that correct?
I think it's very important to. I guess I think everybody's got mental issues. I probably have my own, and my wife points them out to me a lot.
Good for
So she
us.
has value. She's a child of God. She has value.
We have a good relationship. We even have a therapeutic relationship.
Okay.
We're able to talk to each other. We can tell when we're getting a little out of sorts, getting too emotional without thinking, and I think we help each other out. We level each other out pretty well. I care deeply about people, and helping them understand how to navigate life. is important. And again, I go back to you're made of body, soul, and spirit, so you need to stay healthy physically, needs to help stay healthy mentally and spiritually. If you're healthy in all three those areas, you'll probably do well.
You have a good day anyway.
Yeah.
We do this stuff a day at a time.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's a continuous.
Well, like I tell people, I said, anxiety is when you live in the future.
Sure.
Depression is when you live in the past. You're not in the future, you're not in the past, you're only and always will be in the moment. You handle the moment because you have no control of the future. The regrets we have, we move on, because what we were chatting about a little earlier was that getting involved in other people's lives, which is one of the things I like about counseling, getting involved in other people's lives, serving them, where you get your own, when you get your mind off yourself, it'll help other people. And I really, that's one of the things I really appreciate about Mike, working with Mike, is that he has dedicated his life serving people.
Right.
And when you serve people, that's one of the highest callings you could ever have. And so, we have a lot in common there. Mike and I are kind of like fraternity brothers, I guess.
Yeah.
And so, and yourself too, Scott. And I appreciate that. But yeah, getting
We all
involved.
go about it in different ways, though.
Mhm.
You know, and
That's
whatever-
okay because everybody's different.
Right, and wherever you're placed in your, wherever a higher power has placed you in your life, you can be of maximum service to, well, you can attempt to be anyway, can't always, but try and be useful and helpful to the people nearest you, whether that's in the jail, or in a recovery meeting, or in our employment. I know Mike's employed, you're employed, I'm employed. And try and help those people do the best they can with what they have available.
Exactly.
And it's a daily striving. That's not gee, I think, and I know for myself it has to be worked at. It has to be worked at because it wasn't my natural condition.
Not a slam dunk just because I want to.
Bro, and it didn't happen that way.
No, sir. I didn't get hit with a stick that said, "You're all better now."
Right. But over time, and that's where Mike and I learned some of this stuff is in different places that you learned it, but it's still the end result. You know, try and be useful and helpful to the people that are placed in our orbits.
Yep, that's right.
And that's a fascinating way to live life, actually.
And life is really about discipline, I think.
That part.
and anything takes discipline. And then again, discipline is based on fact, not feeling. And so it's like if you were training for a marathon, there were times I've trained for marathons before, and there were times that I didn't feel like running. I didn't feel like it.
But you got up.
But
and
I got
ran.
up and did it anyway, whether I
Right.
felt like it or not. And there's some things I felt like doing that I shouldn't do as an athlete. So I had to discipline myself to not do things, and had to discipline myself to do things. And anything worthwhile worth having is discipline. There's an element of discipline in life that you have to overcome, and you can do that by feelings or facts. And I've used them both. So,
To some good effect.
well,
You'd like to think.
I
so.
like to think so. I guess that's somebody's opinion, but
Right. We're all entitled to those too.
that's true, yeah.
And we all got one.
Yeah.
But getting involved in people's lives, I think, is very, very important. That's why I don't think I'll ever retire. Why should I retire?
Well, why would you?
Because
Would
we
be
need
the
purpose.
question.
To me, we need purpose in life.
Primary purpose.
If I can be useful, I'll keep at it. And it seems like I am so far.
I think so. From what I've seen and talked to people at the jail, people like Mike.
Found a whole new family.
Yes, sir. Well, I'm not out of my element there.
Right. No.
Okay,
no.
I'm uniquely crafted to feel at peace around those people
Sure.
like me.
They just want you to be real.
Yeah.
That's all they're looking
Well, I
for.
think everyone appreciates authenticity. I don't care where you are. If you're in a corporate boardroom or if you're in a jail, you can appreciate and recognize authenticity in another human being.
What I take there is what I learned is that I'm trying to make better decisions. And on my own, I couldn't make better decisions. I need a little bit of help with that. And a lot of that had to do with guidance in my thinking, why I was reacting to things like I was. Just because I wanted to be a little better didn't mean I could be that way without a little bit of footwork on my part.
We all have blind spots, and it takes people who care about us to point them out. And when you're honest with another person, that's really showing love toward them, I believe.
Yeah, and it's an attempt to try and do something different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. My friend Dillinger stopped in here this morning and said, make sure you're speaking directly into the microphone, Scott. He's trying to help me.
Yeah, I can tell you that, and you'd go, what?
What makes you think I'm going to listen to you? How about radio? And equipment.
Oh.
You're uniquely crafted. It's not a radio.
So if I don't really know anything about microphones as such to speak of, I should leave that to Dillinger?
Yeah, obviously.
Okay, I'm off it now, boss. Thanks, Dillinger.
Everybody can do something.
We've been trying to get him to listen to that for a while. Thanks a bunch, Dillinger. We needed it.
Yeah, well, I just took the right person. Right?
I guess.
Sometimes you need the right messenger, isn't that right?
We all have different purposes, just like the body has different purposes.
Right.
Hands don't do the same thing the foot does.
Probably a good thing.
Yeah.
I'd like to see the golf swing with that foot holding the club. That's why they
Do
do.
you play golf, Scott?
Yeah, I enjoy the game a great deal when I get an opportunity to play. I think I played once in the last 3 years. So I know. A lot of people feel bad for me about
I
that,
went down
including myself.
We've gone down to Kentucky. I've gone down for about the last 18 years with the same group of people. And when we were younger, we would play 54 holes in one day.
Yeah.
That's a lot of golf. Can't do that anymore. I played 45 the other day. After that, I played 2 18s and a 9. Enjoyed it, really. But
Won't do that
I was
again, will
tired.
you?
Probably not next year.
Right.
You're going to cut it off at 36 holes a day. I'm glad to see you're cutting back.
Yeah. We have a lot of fun.
I enjoy the game. I really do.
It is a neat game.
Yeah.
I follow it quite. I like the pros.
Yeah.
I follow it pretty closely. But
God wants us to be happy, joyous, and free, and it looks like golfing from time to time for
Sure.
God, Richard.
Sure.
yeah, he does.
Well, it can take on a different element, like anything else in life. You know, anything we do can take on a spiritual element to it.
One of the things that we talked about this down there this year was that I don't necessarily go down to win. I go down to spend times with what we call a fraternity of guys that have been doing this for 30 plus years. For me, it's been like 18 years. But you go down, it's all about relationships, and that's what I mean. The most important thing in life are relationships. If you do well at relationships, then you'll do well at life. Because if you don't do well at relationships, you won't do well at life. I don't care how much money you have or don't have. But what brings fulfillment in life is relationships. That's the way I see it. That's why relationships are important. When I see somebody who's struggling, I want to develop a therapeutic relationship with them.
Sure.
Could I be buddies with them outside? Maybe, maybe not. But that's not what the purpose of my counseling. That's not the purpose of it.
That's not the purpose of
It's
your
to
craft.
do some redirecting.
Yeah. To bring them in out of the cold, so to
Exactly.
speak.
So what I was told in AA is when I'm working with people, I'm supposed to meet them where I'm at, where they're at, but I'm not supposed to just leave them there.
Yeah.
There you go.
Bring them along.
Yeah, that sort
That's
of
the
thing.
neat thing. I like what you do. When they get out of jail, I won't maybe ever see them again. Unless they come back. But you take them
there's
and you
that.
help them, try to help them, steer them toward resources, which
Yes,
is
sir.
what they need.
Yes, sir. An interesting thing, most of the resources are really people, like what you said, people with good relationships with other people that know how to get along with people
Mm-hmm.
and try. That's,
Social skills are important.
yeah. And I learned to hone some of mine in a better way through AA,
Mm-hmm.
finding out what was really important and that sort of stuff. And that's what I can share with somebody is how I got to the heart of the matter, how I uncovered and discovered, looked at the roots of all that stuff.
You're linking the chain of recovery.
Yeah,
Yeah, a link.
just one.
And I'm just one link too.
That's right.
That's all we are.
Yeah, and yeah, Richard said the other day, I don't know what I'd have to share. Well, just one more link in a chain like that looks like that. What a wonderful thing to share.
Right.
That there's hope, that there's help.
As long as you're breathing, there's hope.
Yeah, yeah. That's one of the miracles we discovered in the community that we offer when new folks come in. Much like when they come in new to the facility, you encounter them, right?
Oh, yes.
Yep. Similar situation in the recovery community, and it's one-on-one contact with another person that, generally speaking, will draw that person closer to the community in general. I mean, the recovery community. We offer them some hope.
This program attraction is what I heard.
Mm-hmm.
And if I have something to offer, it makes it a lot more attractive. And we offer recovery from a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body. That's where I was at when I got to AA.
We're all trying to get through life. That's what we all have in common, the best way we can. And if we can help each other out, that's even better.
Or if we can help somebody else out too, come on along. So.
I'm told we're hardwired that way, to try to be helpful. And that's a society skill, to get along and be helpful.
When you make that discovery, yeah. But prior to making that discovery,
I was taking care of Mike's needs.
That's right. We were hardwired.
Looked ugly.
Hardwired, a little different.
Yeah, human beings, we can be pretty selfish.
Yeah.
That's where I think we go wrong. That's why a lot of things we do are driven by ourselves. When you're really helping other people, you're ceasing to be selfish. I think most of the things I do wrong is based on what I want and not considering what others want.
Right.
Pretty interesting. My book says that most of my problems are self-made, based upon self, even though I didn't really understand it at the time. So understanding I kept getting in my way is a big thing for me. And I was just I thought I was trying to be good to myself, but I was rather being selfish and self-centered.
That's where we go wrong a lot of times.
Yeah. A guy said this morning that intentions and actions, he said that Hitler's intentions was to build a better society. His actions didn't quite do that. And now we know him to be as one of the more evil humans in our lifetime. But his intentions, he said, were good, to make a good society.
Guys got sideways.
Yeah.
The whole deal.
Sort of like me showing up at AA sideways.
Yeah, right. Get a lot of that. Probably in the community you serve as well.
Oh, yeah.
Most folks don't wind up incarcerated on their best day. So
A lot of them didn't grow up thinking, well, someday I get to be a criminal. That's
Right.
not what their intention was.
right.
But life threw them that way, and they weren't able to cope with it. And so
Well, thank goodness there's people like you to be there and maybe offer some direction and different thought processes and ideas that you don't have to be here again if you don't want to. Right.
just need some help.
Right. Kind of like what we do, just different facility. That's all.
Yeah.
Glad you're here.
Yeah. Yeah, there's hope.
Yeah.
It looks like us.
Got a chance. So Darren wanted to hit us up again with our giveaways because he's good at that.
Yes, indeed. Last chance to win a family 4-pack of tickets to the Michigan Renaissance Festival. And also your last chance today to win a dozen ears of corn from Carr Farm. So if you give us the call, first 2 callers at 616-754-1063, you will be the next easy winners.
Thank you, Darren. Appreciate that. And I want to remind everyone once again, you can find us on Facebook at Continuous Miracle Radio and on YouTube at Continuous Miracle. And that'll be available Wednesday. Also, continuousmiracle.net. All of our past episodes, once again, are out there. for your listening. Whenever you'd like to view them, and you can leave an email or a note for Mike, myself, or Darren. We would be happy to respond to those. And Richard, sir, I want to thank you for coming in and providing some service for us here today, explaining what actually takes place in within the community that you serve, and we thank you for that, sir.
It's a pleasure being here. Thank you for having me.
Come on back and join us again next week on Continuous Miracle. We'll look forward to seeing you then.
Thank you, sir. That was wonderful. It was really absolutely wonderful.
Well, thanks for having me. Dylan, thank you.
Hey, thank you for stopping in.
He's pretty good at what he does.
I try.
Yeah.
Try my best.
I gotta go help kids move.
Oh, good. I'm not going to do that today. It's my one day off.
Enjoy. This is your day off and you're here?
Yeah.